down in Morgan Monroe in Morgan County, Indiana today. We're gonna try to get a few mushrooms picked if we can find any. It's first week of April. This coronavirus has got my weeks all screwed up. Had a few hot days. Got a good storms come through last night, so we got a lot of rain. So we're kind of hoping they're up and at them. We're gonna give it a shot. So stick with us and see what we come up with. So we just got to our second spot. We hit our first spot, didn't find anything. We kind of dove into the bottoms and some hillsides on the first spot, and kind of came to the conclusion that it's not quite warm enough there yet. So we're back on top here. We just got to this spot, and I walked over here, and it's been many years ago, but I found a whole bunch right here, and we walked over here, and sure enough, there's one here. Looks like it may have been kicked over at some point, but hey, it's the first find of the year for me, so I'm down. Right there. Looks like it's a little gray, so hopefully we'll poke a little harder around here and see if we can find some more. Fill the bag up. We're back in here a little bit further. Found a couple more. They are little. Looks like these yellows are just starting to pop up. Found a great big poplar tree. So I know they're small, but we're on a well-known public ground, and we're literally 3 foot off the road, a walking road. So we're gonna go ahead and pick these, and they'll eat, but hey, it's a good start, and hopefully we get in here a little further and find some more. So we're gonna get these picked. Starting to get my eye. I'm getting excited now. As you can see, the first couple hunts we struggled pretty bad. Indiana had a really funny area of temperature this year, so it went really hot, and was thinking, oh, it's definitely on. We need to get out there and start looking. And then it dropped off real bad on us, and it continued pretty much through the whole mushroom season. But we found a few here and there. They're really sporadic, 1.5 to 2 inches tall. We had a hard time finding them this year. We looked high, we looked in the bottoms, and it just wasn't happening. So we decided, let's move on to some private ground and see how that pans out.
Here, let me get this mushroom picked for you. There you go.
We're in central Indiana today, and we're down in these bottoms trying to do a little bit of mushroom hunting. It's going pretty good so far. So a little bit of rain today. We had a nice hot day earlier in the week, so it's looking good so far. I think we're still just a little bit early, but we're hoping to get a nice little mess out of today, and stick with us and see if I can get you some good pictures of some mushrooms today. That's freshy fresh. As you can see, we're on some private ground now. I've hunted this place for a couple years, and a good friend of mine took me there, and on a whim, we're like, hey, let's go give it a shot. And this place has really produced for me. So as you can see, we're starting to find some nice yellows. Everything is turning out to just be perfect. And we're in, central Indiana. It's still cool, but we're having days where it's getting up into the middle 70s. So the ground temperature is starting to come up. Double we got going there. These big sycamores in these bottoms are really paying off today. So you can see we finally hit the jackpot. We are getting the big tall ones, and we're at the latter end of our season. Indiana's been really off with the ash borer beetle coming through and kind of wiping out our ash trees. For years it's been poplars, and it's been ash trees that you find a majority of your mushrooms around. The last couple of 2-3 years now, what I've personally been finding them around is the sycamore trees, the big huge sycamore trees. that's what I've had all my luck with the last couple of years, and that's kind of where I've maneuvered my thought process in going to every time. One there, one right there, hiding behind that leaf. Right there. I saw another one right over in there somewhere. I'm sure there's more around here. Big sycamores and bottoms. Your ground temps is really important, and that's where we struggled this year with the highs and the lows in the temperature that Indiana had this year. You know, mushrooms grow between 40 at night and 60s in the day. That's really kind of the right time. The ground temperatures being between 45 and 50 degrees is really when they grow the best and when you really start seeing produce. So your higher ridges are going to have mushrooms growing sooner, and your bottoms are going to grow a little later. That's kind of how the season works from top to bottom. So some things you can look for when they're coming up. I have the little black cups. When those start growing, your ground temperatures are ready for morels. They're right at that 45 to 50 degree range, and your morels are not going to be very far behind them. So, well, I was on my way back and ran into this, so see if I can get pictures of it. One there, one right there, and there's one over here. Well folks, we had another good day. This is really my first good day mushroom hunting this year. So earlier we was down these bottoms, and the big sycamores here really pay off. And this property's unique because I don't find them around anything but sycamores here. So I'm grateful that the landowner lets us come here and pick her property and get all these mushrooms out. When we get back to the house here, we'll share a little bit with the landowner. Just a way of saying thanks. So a pretty good little haul for the day. It's April 29th. I'm sorry, April 30th. I still think it's early for this year. The weather's kind of done some weird stuff. It's gotten hot, and then we had a lot of rain. Everybody thought they were coming, and then we had this big cool off, and got down below freezing several nights. And I think it seems like it did a reset on the mushrooms, because we're finding some that are about rotten, and then we're finding some that are just fresh. So when you guys get out and mushroom hunt or come out in the spring, it's a beautiful time of year. God's wonderful, bringing everything back to life in the winter, and it's green, the birds chirp, hearing turkey gobbles. It's probably one of my favorite times of year. Just, watching everything come back to life and getting out and enjoy it. So get outside and take your kids and, just march through the woods. It's good for the soul, and you'll enjoy it. So thanks for sticking with us, and I hope you enjoyed this. So our season was fairly short-lived. We had a few good days, and luckily we did find some that we was able to take home. That pretty much concluded our spring season. It was a couple, 2-3 good hunts. We're going to move on into our fall season, and we're going to go look for some Chanterelle mushrooms for finding mushrooms in the fall. So stick with us.
Morning, everybody. We're doing a little squirrel hunting this morning, and done pretty good so far. So squirrel hunting season for me is obviously I love getting back in the woods and knocking that rust off from turkey season to now. But then the other part I love about squirrel season is we find chanterelle mushrooms. So we're going to talk a little bit about the chanterelle mushrooms today, and we're going to see how many we can find. Got that little one on.
After that limb.
Yeah, it's a good start. The nice thing about chanterelles as opposed to your morels is I saw these from 40 feet, 50 feet, and they, you know, the closer we got, they just continue all the way up through here, and you can see them just because of their coloring. You know, yes, I know morels do the yellow sponge, but their pattern and everything, they just blend in to the ground and everything at that time of year, and these pop out like a sore thumb, so even somebody like me can find them. But we're going to get to picking in this patch. We'll talk a little bit more as we go on about you know, where we're finding them and all that kind of stuff. This is a fresh patch here. I think that other patch that I saw, I think it's kind of older, but
those first two we picked were still good, but they were on going downside.
These are like, I'm not thinking by any means they just grew overnight, but good moisture to them and all that. All of this is in a matter of like 20-foot circle. So on the chanterelles, they're not the flavor. I don't like them like I like morels. You know, morels, we, of course, southern part of Indiana, we like to deep fry and bread our morels. Chanterelles more of your kind of like portobello or button mushroom. You pretty much, we slice it up, saute it. I know some guys that throw them in eggs, throw them in salad, stuff like that, you know. Actually, some of my buddies this time of year will find these and take them to restaurants, typically in your bigger cities that, you know, have the master chef, and they'll pay a pretty good price on them. For me, they don't make it out of the kitchen, so that's kind of the problem for me. But I do know some guys that do make some money at it. I don't even know how to point you in that direction, but if you've got a buddy that's a chef, find out. And if you've got any morels that you don't want, I'll definitely take them.
Shut up and get back to picking.
Pretty cool double. Attached stem. Never found a double. So I've got two here that I'm not gonna profess to be a mushroom expert by any means, but when they start getting mold on them and when they start wilting over the side, and like this one's, the edges are turning brown and curling in, you know, we've got a half a bread sack or a laundry bag full. I'm gonna leave these. I don't know how everybody feels, but when it comes to mushrooms, there's such a fine line between what you can eat and what you can't eat that if it's questionable, I'm throwing them out. So that's just kind of mine.
We got some bonus footage for you today. Oyster mushrooms is right there in the tree. Probably my second favorite mushroom. You can start finding them as soon as the morels start coming on, and you can find them pretty much all the way into deer season. They start turning brown in deer season, but you can notice the color of them. They're very white and very translucent, and they always are ribbed on the bottom. So they're a nice mushroom. You can bread, you can fry them just like you would a morel, and those taste is pretty similar. So like I said, they're probably my second favorite mushroom to find in the woods. This one's a little high up, so we're going to try to do the old knock and catch and see how bad this goes. That mushroom's stronger than a stick.
Well, you picked the wrong stick.
This one's pretty large. You can find them quite a bit smaller than this. You're gonna find these mainly on dead trees. The only place you're gonna find them. You will not find these on the ground. They're a fun little mushroom. They're easy to see and they taste great. This one's a little wet, but oysters. Something to keep in mind when you're looking for oysters. You will see other mushrooms growing on dead trees that look exactly like this, but the backs of them will be smooth and flat. The oysters are the only ones that's going to have the ribbed ones that looks like this. So if you're out in the woods and you see them, make sure they have a ribbed back. That's how you know they're oyster. If they're smooth back, leave them, don't pick them, they're no good.
This is the highly elusive range ball mushroom. Guys chase these all over the place, especially me. But it is funny sometimes when you're walking through the woods what you find. I also found a soccer ball mushroom over there earlier, so I don't know what it is, but I'm finding all kinds. Maybe a basketball will be next, who knows. The elusive range ball, or we should call it the Ranji mushroom.
Ranji mushroom.
You notice my shoes? I looked in the truck and I'm like, oh, I got boots. They were Erica's boots. I'd love to say I was wearing them like this just to sneak up on squirrels, but no. No, I was on duty yesterday and these are what I had on. So we're going to talk about just a little bit. There's not a whole lot to talk about as far as, you know, the what's and all that. With morels, you know, you have certain trees they go around, you have certain areas that they'll grow, certain that they won't. I found with chanterelles that they'll pretty much grow anywhere because they flourish in high heat and rain. And so, you know, we're in a bottom right now and it's a little wet, but it's not overly like swampy or anything like that. But you know, they always, you find fungus and mushrooms in wet, you know, lowland type stuff. But so I've got here, we're in this patch, we just found this other patch, and this is an older patch, so time frame wise, I've seen them start coming up as early as the first couple weeks of July, and then they usually once you start getting into our squirrel season, you know, August 15th when I've always started really even looking for them. But this patch here with this mushroom clearly came up probably a month ago. You know, this is fresh, this is wilted up. So I mean, pretty much anytime July, August, you could be out looking for them. Other than that, you're probably not going to find them. So, and I can't tell you, we've found them around every kind of tree down here, so I don't know that the tree has anything to do with it. Wish I could tell you, but I just don't know. So we're going to pick the last of this patch that we've got here and get moving on out the woods. It's starting to get hot on us, so wish us luck. Well, we had a really great day today. This morning on the drive out, the fog was rolling and it was just beautiful. Got back, killed some squirrels. We found a lot of chanterelle mushrooms. We left a lot of chanterelle mushrooms to go back and pick, you know, in the next couple weeks here. Hopefully they don't dry out and wilt up on us, but I really hope you enjoyed. I know this is something different. Hopefully next year we'll be able to show you a little more success on the mushroom side of things, but we appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching us with Heat Seeker Outdoors. Mosquitoes right here.
Yeah.
Sheesh. It's like they all at once just showed up.